All right, I'll kick us off. Let's just do a brief personal check-in, and then we can do some any inspiration or stuff like that, and then move into business.
Let's do it. Ugh. Excuse me. All right. Yeah, this week was good. I tried a few new taco places. Well, one old,
Oh
one new,
wow,
which
a
is nice.
few.
I love tacos. Well, just two, but I love trying new taco places and going new areas. But this one I really enjoyed, which is one I've been to once before, but I've never been there on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays they do Al Pastor. That's the only day they do it. Uh, so that was awesome.
Nice.
Going there.
And
Kind of enjoyed the other taco place too.
El Pastor can be really good or just sort of so-so, right? Like depends on how people do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, theirs are very good. And this place I really like because they do their own tortillas in house. So every time you get a taco, they literally make the tortilla and then put the filling and then serve it to you right
So
there.
much
So
better.
it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. The tortillas are just so soft and very good. Yeah, that was a lot of fun going there, going to kind of a part of town we don't always go to. So we had some tacos and got to walk around and check out the area. That was nice. Um, Yeah, and then other than that, we went out again yesterday, like I was saying. We were walking around, got some burgers, and that was nice too. It's been, like I said, nice weather. It's been, hot on paper, but it feels pretty nice. The wind's always blowing, like it's 100, and yeah, it's nice. So I've been enjoying that, but even enjoying the mornings and evenings better. It's 60s to 70s in the mornings and evenings. It's really nice. So yeah, that's been nice, but overall, been a great week. So,
Cool.
what about you?
Uh, yeah, pretty good. I've just been playing a ton of pickleball. uh, Anne left last Saturday, so she was here for a month, and yeah, I didn't play as much pickleball. We just did a lot of other stuff, and so
Hmm.
then she left, and I was like a little bit lonely, and also missed playing as much pickleball as I used to. So I played like 2 or 3 hours every day. I think yesterday was my eighth day in a row. So she left on Saturday. I played Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday again. So
That's awesome.
yeah, yesterday I played at the Mebane courts, which is great. They're like 12 minutes away from me, and nobody's ever there. So if you get a group, you can just go over there and do your own thing. So I had Steve and this guy Eric,
Hmm.
who's out here, and then Steve's daughter and her friend came, and some other folks came, and then this guy
Nice.
came, just showed up out of the middle of nowhere, who's from Austin, Indian
Hmm.
guy, and that was fun to just meet him and incorporate him in. And I gave him
Yeah.
tips on places to play because I always love it when I'm traveling and people give me tips on places to play. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, that was fun. It's been raining like mad, so it's been kind of crazy. Just today the sun's out, but it's been raining almost every day since Ann left. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, so I can't complain. Happy about that.
Hmm.
And other than pickleball and work, I really didn't do much. So that's about it.
That's okay.
But it's a good week. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of good pickleball in, and you know, plugging away at work. So we'll talk about work in a minute. So if we are recording this, we're not still sure if we're recording because we recorded like 4 episodes and we've got one actual recording. But if we are recording this is Mark Cool and Jasper Cool. We're father and son wholesalers. I do land. He does mostly houses, but we both dabble in other things. And yeah, we're just trying to do a podcast to hopefully help other people out with some of our experiences and some tips and tools that we use. Um, so let's do any inspiration or like resources or podcasts or books or anything this week. Just touch on that if you got anything for the week.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I was rereading The Big Leap this week. I'm almost done with that, but
Oh,
it's
nice. I
been
like
great
that.
for me. It's been a while since.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I listened to that one or read it. So it's a good reminder to reread it, and I'm
Yeah.
picking up a lot of things that I've forgotten about. So that's always a good book. That's one of my favorites. But I've been enjoying that. And then this week I listened to Cody Sanchez. I don't know if you've heard of her, but I think she's
No.
getting pretty popular in the business space now because she is her message is basically to buy small businesses rather than investing otherwhere in real estate or stocks or whatever. And so that's kind of her pitch. And so I listened to her story, and it was very inspiring. She was working in the corporate finance space for quite a while, and she was just noticing how her higher level, bosses and managers and stuff, those guys are making like anywhere from $10 to $20 million a year,
Yeah.
and not really doing much work at all. She was under them, so she was making mid six figures, like a good salary, but she was basically doing like all their work, for them. And so
There goes the dogs. Idris and Cody. Kobe. Why did I say Cody? Idris and Kobe.
oh gosh, sorry.
This guy's going at it.
I guess they're excited this morning. Yeah. But yeah, that was a good podcast. She was on Stephen Bartlett's podcast, and I like him. He's a good interviewer. But she was just telling her story on how she went from corporate to doing her own thing, and she bought a laundromat, and she basically does seller finance on businesses. So I thought you might find that interesting. I'll send you a podcast. But
Nice.
you do a lot of seller finance with real estate investing. She does it with businesses, and it's something I'd never even thought about. But you can seller finance anything, right? Like
Yeah. So she's just buying businesses on owner financing.
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so very cool. And she was sharing her numbers with him, and her holding company, she has one company that holds all the businesses she buys, does 70 million a year in revenue.
Wow.
So she's crushing it, and this is in a relatively short time in the last 3 to 5 years that she's been doing this. So
That's awesome.
She's crushing it. But not only that, just to hear her like talk about her mentors that she speaks to and learns from, and how they tell her that she's thinking too small. And so that's inspiring for me as well, because she said that one of her mentors specifically, Bill Perkins, actually, he wrote a book called Die with Zero that I really enjoyed, but he's one of her mentors. And she was hanging out with him, and he was like, I think you've been buying small businesses for too long, that now it's gotten into your mind and you're thinking too small. And she was like, that was just a great wake up call for her, because, here she is doing great to someone like me looking up at her. But someone like him, he's like, man, you're thinking way too small. Like, you need to buy bigger businesses or do bigger ventures and stuff like that. So it was a really good podcast for me. I'll send it to you. But,
great reminder too.
Yeah, she's really smart, and I really enjoyed the fact that she's doing seller finance, and she was just talking about all the different ways you can structure deals, and especially with businesses. It's I think it's very similar in real estate, but in some avenues, when you're like trying to buy something or you're investing or something, typically like one person is losing, another person's winning. But she was saying in business, it's very much not like that. Like when you're buying businesses, like you can structure these deals all sorts of ways to where the owner maybe stays on as like a chairman, like an acting chairman, even though they don't own it anymore, just because a lot of these people have sentimental value. And so you want to make sure that they're still feeling good about the deal. But at the same time, by doing that, you're getting yourself a great deal too. So I really enjoyed that podcast. That was the most I've listened to her, at one time.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I started following her now, and she's got a newsletter as well. And I've been enjoying listening to her stuff. But I'll stop it there. I had a couple other things that I could share with you, but that was probably the one that stood out to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's inspiring. I feel like, for me, the thinking small thing, like I get reminders to think big, and then I've fallen back into like doing these small deals in business, and it's just like, and I can see it. It's like you've talked about this before too. It's like, oh, we just closed the deal and we made $5,000. Big whoop, It's like, and that's I shouldn't be feeling that way on some level. I should be like, oh, that's so awesome that I'm in a business where I can close the deal and make $5,000. That's really nice. But at the same time, it's just like, okay, next, let's do bigger. Yeah. So that's great to hear that he's telling her she's thinking too small, and that, it's just a reminder to keep expanding our idea of what is possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's great that you go to those open houses over there too and look at all the really posh mansions and stuff. For me, I had a few things. I'll just touch on them briefly. I was just trying to add podcasts to my feed because I've switched over to Spotify, and I have the paid Spotify, so everything's free, which is nice. But I had real limited podcasts in there, so I was like going through trying to add podcasts, so I'm not looking at the same feed. But I came across Wholesaling Inc., which I haven't listened to in a long time, and it wasn't in my stuff. and they had an
Yeah.
episode on how to get the price out of the seller, and it was great. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a really simple episode about different strategies for getting the seller to give you their price. Um,
Yeah.
and I just those guys are awesome to listen to them talk, and they Brent did some deals, that he did some walkthrough of deals and how he found the deal, like driving for dollars, and then I talked to the seller and this is what happened. And it's always fun to hear people tell stories of how the deal went down, or this guy had 8 dogs and he just wanted to like sell the property without having to fix it up from all the dogs, and you didn't want people to have to go through there because he was
Yeah.
still living there and you didn't want to have to deal with his dogs and stuff like that. But I don't know if I'll remember any of the strategies. God, there were some good ones in there, but it was like, hey, I won't hold you to it, but what, give me a ballpark just so I'm not wasting your time, right? Like something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Or like, given the market in your area, like what do you think this would be worth fully fixed up? And then how much do you think it would take to fix it up? Like trying to get people to get to their price sequentially
Mm-hmm.
with like, see what their knowledge of the market is, see what their knowledge of the comps is, see what they think the repair value is, and then try and get them to give you a price in that way. Um,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can just ask. I mean, I do it all the time. I just say, hey, what's your asking price on that? And sometimes people just tell you, like, I'd like to get this. Which
Yeah.
is really nice when we have that because it makes it a lot easier to work on. That thing I was texting you about this week of like, we just got a house lead, and I was like, I just asked him, I was like, hey, what do you want to get out of this? And he gave me his price. So now I'm just sort of working
Yeah.
backwards on that. So it's always nice. But also, I think I
Awesome.
texted you this week. I was looking, I have this book on my Kindle that's called How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold, Siebold.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like that because it's just like, he interviewed a lot of really wealthy and successful people and just tried to get patterns of how people in that class, what he calls the world class, think and approach life and business and stuff. So each chapter is really short and there's like a takeaway. And so I really like
Mm-hmm.
that. I think I shared one of the takeaways with you this week. It was something about, rich people who are wealthy don't do it for the money. They do it for the satisfaction of the achievement. And if you're not happy before you make money, you won't be happy after you make money. Like happiness is its own separate thing. So that was
All
cool.
right.
And I'll just hit one other one, which is I did listen to a Alex Hormozy podcast. He was on Chris Williamson, I think is the guy's name. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of the stuff that we often hear from him. But he was talking about motivation and negative motivation, which, I've heard him talk about before, but just how like you don't have to be, have this positive goal that you're reaching for. You can also be motivated by something that you're trying to avoid. And actually, it's human nature and
Mm-hmm.
psychology for us as mammals that we are more motivated by things that we're trying to avoid than we are by things we're trying to go towards a lot of times. So like he
Mm-hmm.
was talking about how he's trying not to fail, to prove his dad wrong, like the story he's told about his dad and wanting to surpass him and stuff. But also,
Yeah.
the host gave this example of how people did a test with rats in a maze, and the rats were starving, and they wafted in like the scent of cheese or something from one end, and they had like a spring attached to the rats so they could see how hard they pulled towards the thing they wanted, towards the food.
That's funny.
Yeah, but then they
Yeah.
piped in from behind them the scent of a cat, and they pulled much harder, So it's like what you're trying to avoid often motivates you more than what you're trying to go towards. So like thinking about,
Yeah.
like I'm tired, or the pain, like looking at your pain and embracing it as a motivator and just going like, I don't want to be in this
Mm-hmm.
situation anymore. I don't want to be here next year. I don't want, like for me, it's like, I don't want another year falling short of my financial goal for the year. So I'm really, for me, in a place of like, feeling a lot of pressure right now as we hit the middle of the year because I'm not halfway to my goal and I really want to hit that goal. So I'm feeling that pain
Mm-hmm.
and it's motivating me. So that's a good thing. So anyway, that's my stuff for that. Uh, let's,
Yeah. I love it.
yeah, let's do, and I'm still reading Who Not How, which is, as we've talked about, rereading that once a year is probably a good idea, just like The Big Leap. You just reminded me I want to
Mm-hmm.
reread The Big Leap too. And Vivid Vision probably too,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but Yeah, let's move into the business check-in, and however you want to do that. Normally, we do like the KPIs and the victories and challenges, and anything we've learned this week, and any goals or accountability. But
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, jump in.
Yeah, I'll run through the KPIs first, and I'll touch on each of those. So just real quick for this week, we had 170 leads, 48 offers, one contract, two closed, and two sold. The sold were both not our own deals, but sold someone else's deals, JV deals.
That's still nice.
So yeah, it's like we talk about smaller deals, but yeah, those are the KPIs. So just going over each of those briefly. 170 leads is a huge thing for me. That's
I was going to say that's a big number. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much double than what we're typically getting, and I attribute that to increasing my second launch control account. So, like I said, I've got one launch control account that they falsely increased to 5,000 texts a day, which I'm taking advantage of. But on my second account, I recently increased that, not this week, but the week before. And so I'm seeing that paying off now as well. So I increased that account and I hired another SMS agent.
So you're up to 20. You're up to 2,500 on your second account.
No, that one's up to 3,750, and the other one's at 5. So we're about 9,000 if you round up per day.
Did you do the enterprise, or is it just the upgraded launch control?
Yeah, so on the one, like I said, they falsely upgraded me, so that's I don't know how. But on the other one, I'm on the highest tier of their thing, so I can go in there and check real quick. But it's called the Pro, so I'm on the Pro plan, and then I purchased an extra market. So that's what I did.
Okay, yeah, I was trying to figure out how you were
extra market.
How you were more than me, because I'm at 2,500 and I'm on the Pro plan. Yeah.
And yeah, so if you just you can buy the extra market and they'll increase you by $12.50 per day.
Okay.
In terms of text that you can send. And when you do that extra market, you don't have to actually add a new market. You can just add it to your same market that you're already using. That's just what I do.
Okay.
Like you don't have to register a whole new
phone number,
area code, or all that stuff. So
okay.
You can just add it to your existing. Yeah, so that's what I did. And actually, I'm looking at my launch control now. It looks like they're giving me the option to maybe do that one more time. So I might do that in a couple of weeks if it still continues to improve. So yeah. But yeah, launch control has been awesome for me. So the 170 leads is a part of a victory for me for sure. That's awesome. And,
yeah, it's huge.
It's about double what I'm used to. So yeah, I attribute that to partly launch control. I also hired 2 more callers 2 weeks ago. So I'm still not getting as many leads from calling, but I think that's part of the increase because I've got two more people there. And in terms of the offers, 48 offers is a little bit on the lower side, but I'm still proud of that because I told you offline, but my acquisitions guy, Michael, he was out of town Thursday and Friday. He was on vacation because he was proposing to his girlfriend. So super excited for him. I'm excited to hear about that next week. But yeah, at the same time, it was a bit of a challenge for me to step back into that role and with all the other things that I'm currently doing. So the offers dipped a little bit on Thursday and Friday, but we still got right below 10 offers a day, which is my target is 10 offers a day. So we're at 48, we're right below that. So I'm happy with that. And then one contract is below what I would like, but happy that we got a contract and stopped the drought. We had 2 weeks. I told you we had 2 weeks at the beginning of June where we had 0 contracts. That was the first time all year we had 2 weeks in a row. And then since then we've had 5 contracts the past 2 weeks. So I like that it's picking up. So we're trending in the right direction there. And then 2 close. That's always nice to close a couple of deals. And then, like I said, the 2 sold were both JV deals. At this point, I have that one new contract that I'm waiting on photos for, but at this point, I don't have. I only have one of my own deals to sell, so it was nice to get a couple of JV deals so I can sell something.
You're at the other end of the spectrum from me. I've got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, that's why I'm ramping up launch control and everything, because like when I get these contracts, they sell really quickly, and then I'm left with nothing. So that's why I'm trying to ramp up the front end with more leads and everything. So I'm excited about that this week with 170 leads. Like when Michael comes back next week, I think we're going to be up in the contracts, definitely. I might need to hire another acquisitionist just like you. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, other than that, I'll go into victories for the week. Besides those victories I touched on, KPIs. Divine was actually, I mentioned to you last week, I was kind of struggling with her, my new transaction coordinator. But she took a big stride this week. She helped me a bunch this week, and she is ready for more. Basically, she asked me if she can do more stuff, so I'm excited about that. I put together a few more processes yesterday for her, and basically I'm going to have her starting next week take over the whole JV process for me, and I'm really excited about that. So basically, because people bring me JV leads like directly, so they just text my cell phone when they have a deal they want to JV on. And then I kind of, when I get that, I have to kind of drop everything, research the property, put together an email, send it out as fast as I can because I want to, keep getting those JV opportunities. So I want to, when I do get those, I want to sell them for those people and make it a good experience for them. But going forward, as soon as I get that text, I'm just going to send it to Dubai. She's going to research it. She's going to put together the flyer. She's going to send it out. And then that's going to be all off my plate. So I'm excited for that going forward. It's going to save me a bunch of time. And it also makes me want to do more JVs because it's not as time intensive for me. I'm just basically like fielding offers at that point and just selling the deals. So
Nice.
I'm excited for that. And she's also been helping me because like I mentioned, the transactions thing is not necessarily a 40 per hour or 40 hours per week position. So she has free time. So she's been helping me also with Podio, which is something I was going to hire a separate person for, but she's been basically doing that already. So I think I can just load everything on her in addition to transactions, which is exciting.
Sweet.
Because we were texting offline about it, but the offer calculator that I sent to you, literally just 2 weeks ago, I was doing that all myself for every lead that comes in. And when you get 170 leads a week, that's like 30 or 40 a day that you have to do those offers for. It's a bunch of time, even though each one only takes like 5 minutes, but that's a bunch of time when you add it up.
Yeah.
So now she's doing that for me. That's a huge help. That saves me a bunch of time. So I'm grateful for her. And
Awesome.
it's been a victory that she's continuing to ask for more responsibilities. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, she seems to be crushing it in transaction coordination from the emails that I've seen too.
Yeah, she's doing well. She's doing some more coaching and stuff on stuff, but she's doing pretty well on most of the emails and follow-ups and stuff. Yeah, other than that, let's see. Just looking through stuff. I got that 11 unit in Hickory. I've got multiple offers on that one.
Wow.
Because I didn't know if that was even a deal. And I have multiple offers on it over my price that I sent it out for. So that's exciting, but I can check about that in challenges as well. And then I guess that's about it. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, I can just move on. Yeah, I probably have other stuff to share, but it might come back to me. But the challenge, yeah, one of the challenges is the 11 unit thing. Like I said, I have multiple buyers that are interested in it, but the sellers have just been very, very slow to respond and like set up showing for me. So I'm gonna call them again tomorrow, but I'm not like under pressure on their end because we had a closing date that was like 20 days from when we signed. So like maybe it's just not as much of a priority for them as I thought. But obviously, I'd like to close it quickly. So I'm kind of like fighting that balance of like I don't want to be too pushy on them, but I don't want to close this up. It's kind of weird because the buyers obviously really want to see it, really want to under contract. The seller, it's like it's an interesting balance. But I'll figure that out. It's just a challenge. And a couple of the challenges that come along with this 11 units that I'm learning. It's just like more paperwork and stuff that buyers are looking for to make their final decision and stuff. So that's a bit more challenging when the sellers are already very slow to respond anytime I have questions and stuff for them. So, but that's okay. Bigger deals come with bigger challenges, right?
Yeah, that's what we are. High-level problem solvers.
Yeah, I've been still working on that mobile home that I brought up a few times. I posted in my CG Facebook group yesterday, and I got some feedback. Nothing that I haven't tried yet, so I'm hoping for more feedback. But we've touched on that before. I'm just kind of at a loss here, and so I mean, my last resort is just to basically cancel the deal with the buyer I have now. Try to remarket this property as just a vacant land deal. If I do that, it probably sells maybe for like a 5K profit, maybe. But as it is right now, it's a 30K profit, so I'm gonna try to do that. But I don't really know if there's a way around this one. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting to hear some more feedback on CG, but I don't know. I tried the polite route, so I'm trying to think of how I can be more forceful without overstepping, since it's not my property yet. So yeah, but I think that's it. I mean, besides I guess my VA's had internet issues throughout the week. Multiple VAs are having internet issues with the weather over there. And obviously Michael was out, but I mean those challenges come and go, so it's not a big deal. But I think that's it for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's exciting about the 11 unit. Did you sell it to Chris?
No, I don't have it sold yet, but I did accept an offer. But it's from someone I've never worked with before.
Yeah, I have that calculator that Chris gave us in the that session that Uriah host. If it's ever helpful to you for multi-units, he gave us a quick way to assess them. I have it in my notes here, so I can share that with you if you want. But he assesses them like really quickly. Yeah, I'll find it and send it to you.
Yeah, he passed on this one very quickly.
So he did the calculator that he gave us probably. Yeah.
Probably, but he doesn't buy in Hickory, so
okay, that was part of
I
it.
wasn't expecting it really.
Yeah, I found the formula here. I'll send it to you. Yeah, with the mobile home, have you tried any sort of type? We talked about this before, but any type of cash for VIN number type thing, like
Yeah, I've tried that, so I could just continue to up it, but I don't know how effective that would be.
so you've been in touch with the tenants and they said no to cash for access.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a conversation with her via text. She won't answer the phone ever, but I had a conversation with her via text, and she texted me like she was actually looking for the thing. I don't know if that was true, but she told me that she's looked everywhere in the house and it's not there. And she was like, "Trust me, if I would have found it, I would have sent it to you because you guys are really bothering me about this." And I'm like, I don't really believe her, because then I followed that up with, "Well, hey, thank you for looking. Would you mind just letting our guy come by just really quickly, 5 to 10 minutes? He'll bring you some cash for your time. Just want to double check because we have more experience, might be able to find it." And it's always a no when we ask to like double check and look inside. So that just causes suspicion. I find it hard to believe that a mobile home doesn't have this paperwork because they all have that paperwork. So I find it hard to believe unless the house is like flooded or something and it like vanished somehow. I don't know, but yeah, I don't really know. I'm kind of at a loss, so I might just cancel the deal. But like I said, it's a good profit deal, so
Yeah.
I would like to close it if I could.
And what about the buyer? Would they be okay with as is without the VIN number, or no? They have to have the VIN number.
Well, Chris is actually the one buying this, and he might do that. I talked to him about it Friday. It would be at a lower price, but I'd still make a decent profit on it. But the thing is, like, I don't know if I feel good at even doing that to him, because without that thing, he can't ever sell it. So
He can't sell the property or the mobile home. Fortunately, that was our first skip. I was just saying,
yeah,
like,
I was just saying he.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. But I think it's just an issue with title insurance. So they can't insure because we don't have title to the mobile home, essentially, because the owners don't have the title and we can't find the sub plate. So we essentially don't have the title to the mobile home. So he could buy it, but he couldn't resell it unless he somehow found that in the property. So that's kind of a big risk. That's why I don't want to necessarily ask him to do that.
So could he buy it and then evict the tenant and then find the VIN number after the tenant's evicted and then get the insurance and sell it?
Yeah.
Because you can do a title, you can do a title search, but not have the insurance policy on it, right? But you can say, hey, the title's good, except for this piece. Are you good with that? And then you can evict the tenant and get the VIN number and turn it around that way. Like that's just could work.
Yeah, I think that's the solution here. Just in the rare event that they are correct and there's nothing there, I would feel bad for him because I don't know how he could ever get around that in the future for selling it if it's not a public home anywhere.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe, though.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, that might be the solution to just see if he'll be willing to do that.
Just like, hey man, the tenants are really difficult. We can't get in and get this number. Would you be willing to blah, 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 and just see if he goes for it?
Yeah. Yeah, he was the one who suggested that to me on Friday, and we were at, I think our price is $47.5. He offered me $40. I said yes, but then I think he changed his mind. But yeah, so maybe I just have to give him a better offer or something like that. Just to get it closed.
Or just go back to him and say, hey, is that still good to do it for 40 and just like have you handle the VIN number stuff? I mean, that's a $7,000 discount for him to do, not that much work.
No, yeah, and I'm already discounting it for him in the beginning without all this other stuff because of the the risk of the eviction and stuff before we knew about this other stuff. But
yeah,
because the property is really worth like probably 65 or as is.
And he does that stuff all the time. I mean, he does a lot of deals where he has to evict people, so it's not a big deal, for him,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I appreciate the feedback. That'll be my next course of action to see if I can get that agreement from him to do it.
Yeah, or just send him an addendum. Just to be like, hey, here's the addendum for the thing we talked about, and just see if he signs it.
Yeah, that's true.
I do that sometimes. I'll just be like, hey, here's the addendum. Just once you get this signed, we'll move forward. Just see.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that with sellers sometimes when we do a price reduction. I'll just go ahead and send them the addendum for the price reduction after I pitch it to them, and then I'll have it in there. I'll be like, hey, this price or this revised offer expires on this day. It's not signed, so put some urgency on it. It's worked for me.
Yeah.
With sellers, so yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what you call that close, but it's a type of close, right?
Just assume the sale, right?
Yeah, assumed close, assumptive close, right? Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other feedback I had is with the JV stuff is, we've talked about this before, but like starting to get some of that stuff out of your personal phone and into a line that can be managed. The internet just cut out for a second. I'm out here in the country, so. Oh, I was just gonna offer you a thought on the JV thing with people texting you, is to maybe start to segue that, like get another phone line and smartphone and start having people have that be your JV hotline and be like, hey, in the future, we're going to handle JV deals through this phone line. And then, your person can man that phone line, and that just saves you one more point of contact and one more point where you have to filter stuff. You just, it's going straight to that person. If they need your help, they can ask you for feedback. You can still monitor it in smartphone, but you don't have it coming. I would like to see you getting less and less stuff on your personal phone line and getting more of it coming through smartphone and Podio, so that you have the choice as to whether to respond to it, but it's not blowing up your phone. So just a thought.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I got. Unless you have anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. We can switch on over.
Okay. All right. Well, let me pull up my KPI tracker here that my team maintains, which is awesome. So we got as far as marketing, we have sorry, the thing was just asking me if I wanted to share this tab instead, and I don't. I mean, I could share this, but I'm not going to share it right now. So anyway, our texts are up. because I've been doing the Saturday session, which I'm going to have my new guy do. I don't know. I guess we do victories and challenges first. I don't remember what our order is here.
Oh, that's fine.
Victories, I think I'll see if I can start with victories, but I have to find the tab on here that has the dispo tracker, because that was one of our victories. I think we sold 2 this week, and one of them we sold in same day, which is always awesome. And it's kind of a newer trend for us to be selling stuff the same day, but it's a testament to our acquisitions and disposition process. Like, I put a process in place called post-contract review, where we do a lot of review of stuff. And if we need to do a preliminary title search, we do that. And we're just doing all this stuff. So we make sure stuff is more ironclad. And then we put it into dispo to go out for marketing. And so we did that. We took a little bit longer after we got the contract to send it to dispo, and just spent time making sure our ducks were in a row. And we had to get some paperwork. It was like, a seller with 3 other heirs, but we got everybody signed, and we got the title checked by the closing attorney so that we know we can close it. And then we sent it to dispo, and then we found a buyer the same day. So that was awesome. And, that got locked down the same day. And let me see here. Yeah, we got 3 solds this week. So that's a victory. That's a big number. The most solds we've had in a week this year was 5. Whoops. Are you back? Oh, yeah. I'm not sure where I was on that, but anyway, yeah, we took time with the reviewing the contract to make sure it was solid before we sent it to dispo, and then we sold it the same day that we put it into dispo.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's also a testament to all the building we've been doing with disposition, like adding buyers for the last few months, and our buyer list is stronger. We have more sort of VIP buyers, and so I think we were able to send it to one person and sell it same day once we put it into dispo, which was huge, and that's what I've been working towards with disposition for a while, because, as you know, we were struggling with like getting a bunch of tire kickers on Facebook Marketplace and just dealing with a bunch of people. And now we've got like a list of quality buyers that we reach out to first, and often sell things without ever posting on Facebook Marketplace, which has been one of my goals.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, we sold 3 this week. And what I was saying is that's the second time this year we've sold 3 in a week. And then we had 1 week where we sold 5. That was our biggest week in dispo, which is, that's pretty huge. But we sold 3 this week. We sold 2 last week. We sold 2 the prior week. So we're on a roll in dispo for sure. That makes me happy. And then I can go over to acquisitions and talk about that stuff. But yeah, so as far as victories, 3 sold and 1 sold in the same day. Those are big victories. The other victory that I would share that I texted you about is we did hire a new guy that I'm excited about. And I love that his name is Lucky. His name is Ben, but he says Ben/Lucky. And I was like, well, which one do you like? And he was like, well, I don't know. Which one do you like? I was like, I like Lucky. I think that's great, And so anyway, and his story was like he was a premature birth, and it was like a really dicey situation at the hospital where they didn't know if they were going to be able to save both the mother and the baby, and then both came through, and so he's kind of like a miracle baby.
Wow.
And so they nicknamed him Lucky, So
that's amazing.
But anyway, he's got really good energy. He's got experience working for a wholesale company, doing acquisitions, working launch control, following up and making phone calls with people in launch control once they express interest. So it's like home run for me.
Sweet.
Yeah. And just good energy, good guy. And he's got a family, and he's just looking for a job. His last job, they ended it because they said they were switching to more direct mail and less text. And, so his position went away. But anyway, looking forward to him starting on Monday.
Yeah.
And that's why I was asking you about launch control, because I want to double down on launch control. I mentioned that, I'm not even halfway to our annual goal in revenue. I'm not even a third of the way there, which is, really frustrating for me, even though, whatever, I don't want to go into too much detail. The first couple months were some building months. So more recent months are better, but yeah, I've got some work. I've got some work to do. So part of that work is doubling down on marketing. and just really being willing to spend money on that and ramp that up. Because as you can see, Dispo are selling stuff. So anyway, that's a victory. The new hire and the 3 sales, definitely a victory. We didn't close any this week. We did. Yeah, I guess that deal that we're JVing kind of goes into challenges and victories, right? So the challenge was that the perk didn't come back right. I've got a bunch of challenges, so I'll just look at the KPIs and then I'll speak to challenges. So for acquisitions, it's not as encouraging for me this week. We had a little shy of 13,000 texts go out for the launch control, and so that's good. That's a number I've been wanting to hit. Like maxing out our weekly texts. That's why I've been doing the Saturday sessions. Sorry, I got to scroll through here. So I have so many tabs on this launch. This tracker that Giselle created is awesome, but it's got tabs for everything. So I have to figure out which tab I have to go to. We've got a weekly launch control tracker. That's what I'm on now. We got, let's see, we got about 13K, maybe a little over 13K text sent out. We got, let's see, I got some more leads on Saturday, so I don't know what we got here. We got probably like 90 warm leads and 6 hot leads. We're kind of breaking that down and separating it out now. So we've been averaging about 100 leads over the last few weeks. Our offers are way down, but I've also shared with you I've been changing the way I'm doing offers. I'm doing a lot of them as sort of verbal offers where we're trying to get people to give us their price, and when they do, we're doing a quick review of the property, and then if we're in the ballpark, then they're a hot lead and we're making an offer. If they want 25K for their property and our offer would be 5K, then we're just texting them and saying, hey, we're not your buyer at this time at that price. Thanks for the opportunity to look at this. We'd be at about 5K on this. But I'm not doing the whole formal written offer and all that stuff because it's a waste of my time and my team's time to go through all that process of putting the offer together and putting it in their email just for them to say, you're crazy. I would never take an offer that low. This is an insult, all those things. I just have had too many of that. So we're doing the stuff where we're in the ballpark or it's something we really want. We're actually doing the formal offer, and otherwise we're just doing a text, what I'm calling like a text or a verbal offer. So so we only made one of those formal offers this week, it looks like, and then we did a bunch of text offers, and we're not tracking those right now, but it's probably like 20 of them. So I'm adjusting my acquisitions, so I'm not sure about how we're going to track those or if we're going to track the verbal/text offers. So then we do have a direct mail campaign in the works right now, and I'm just going to pull up that tab if it'll load here for me. Yeah, so we sent out 2,000 mail pieces. Oh no, I'm not looking at the right campaign. Sorry. I think this campaign, because we're doing a split test, we're doing a new mailer format. I think I mentioned this to you, and then we're doing one with our old classic mailer format. So this was 2,200 text, 2,200 pieces sent out, and then we've gotten 9 leads from it so far. So that's a little less than 0.5%. Normally, in the past, we were getting 1% to 2%. So I would expect some more leads to filter through with this one. But we're at 9 leads so far.
Nice.
On that. And then let me see how many offers we've made on that. We've made 3, 4, 5, 6 offers. So, I guess 2/3 of those, 66% of the leads we made offers on so far. No contract. Oh, wait, we got one contract already from direct mail. So there we go. So usually our conversion rate with direct mail is pretty high. That's one contract for 9 leads. So that's not bad. That's 10% conversion so far, and we haven't followed up on all those offers yet. So hopefully we get better. So yeah, that's my KPIs and challenges. one challenge I've had, I won't like dwell on any of these, but I've had a few this week. I guess the biggest challenges are that JV deal we have with you, where the soil report came back and said that it couldn't sustain two septic systems, even though there were two mobile homes on there. I guess the two mobile homes were sharing one septic, and now all those leach fields, the drainage fields for the septics, can't be used as septic area for the future. So you have smaller area. Anyway, the challenge of it was we had to discount that deal, as you know, and discount the amount of money both you and I are making on that deal because of it. Um, so
Yeah.
it was good because the buyer is a cool guy and a pro, and he, the discount I felt like was fair given what the situation was. I still wouldn't be surprised if those guys can go in there and figure something out and still put two buildings on that. So that's part of the discount, and maybe they can't do it. So that was a challenge, just to discount what we thought we were going to make on that to what we're actually going to make on that. The victory in there was that you guys figured out the title stuff, so we will be able to close it on Monday. And I think he already wired his funds on Friday. He was asking about the wire instructions, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. They are good buyers, definitely good people to work with. So then we have a seller. We've talked about this challenge with text too, about getting people on the phone and pardon me, making connection with them. And we have a seller that we're under contract with, and we've sold the property, and we still haven't gotten them on the phone. And both Creasa and I, sorry, I breathed in some dust or something. Both Creasa and I have called multiple times, left voicemails, texted them, etc. They text back and forth with us. They signed the contract, but we haven't been able to get them on the phone. So that feels a little bit dicey when we have a closing coming up in a week or so, and we haven't talked to the seller. And they say they're attending the closing in person, but they've only said this by text. And that's really, since we just had a seller fraud like a few weeks ago where somebody posed as a seller, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Their voicemail is, says that they're the person that is under contract when we call them and leave a voicemail. So that's encouraging. It's a real person's voice. But it'd be great if we get a call from them. So that's a little bit scary, and it's just one of the challenges we've talked about with texting. And I'm implementing protocol where, like you suggested, we get one or two positive responses. We're going to try and get people on the phone right away rather than wait until we're ready to sign a contract. Yeah, and other than that, my owner finance deals thing, like I'm going to have to revamp my whole. Oops. You there?
Yeah, I cut out again.
Yeah. I don't know where I was other than talking about the challenge of sellers on launch control and just wanting to make sure that we get them on the phone at the earliest opportunity to build rapport and make sure the deals are solid. I came from using all direct mail where pretty much every lead that came in was a phone call, incoming phone call. So we're always talking to people, and then you get a feel from the person right away of like how serious they are, how motivated they are, what type of person they are. But with this text, you just don't get as much of a feel of a person. So, yeah. And so then the other challenge I was going to speak to briefly is our owner finance deals thing. We had two that we closed, like in the last about a month ago. And what happens is those people need to sign up for our auto debit payment platform that we have. We have in our agreements on our finance deals, they sign an agreement that they're going to sign up for our automated payment platform and enroll in it, after closing. And we've had people I just got this guy finally enrolled, but he missed his first payment. So then he has to mail me a check, and that's happened a couple times. And I have two different people who are mailing me checks every month, and I don't want that. I just want auto debits. It's just too much work to I shouldn't complain about getting checks in the mail and having to deposit them, but the way we have it set up is so we can do volume and do more owner finance deals and not have to be handling checks and depositing them. So I realized that I'm going to have to revamp my whole thing and do like an application for owner financing and make people sign an agreement that says they understand this and that. They understand they have to set this up within a week after closing. They have to, just to get it more locked into people's brains, because what's happening is people are closing and then we're following up with them. We send them an invitation through the payment platform. We send them a reminder email and a welcome, like, here's what you need to do with an amortization table. Like, we're doing all these steps, but we've still had issues with people signing up. So anyway, it just became apparent to me this week that, like, it's a project within our business to ramp up, revamp, organize, and solidify our owner finance deals intake and setup, And so we haven't been doing a lot of credit application or checking or any of that stuff prior to doing a deal, because we have just had the attitude that if somebody's bringing in, some of these owner finance deals, we're buying this property for $1,000, and then the person's coming in and putting $1,000 or $2,000 down, and then they're paying $250 a month or something. So they're basically paying for the property with their down payment. So we don't worry about it a lot, because if we have to take the property back, it's not a big deal. We already have it paid for. But I think we need to be a little bit more rigorous and screen people a little bit more, because we've just had some people that, I just don't want the hassle of it. So I'm going to automate it and streamline it more. I'm going to hand it off to a team member, and I want to be doing less of that. I guess the challenge is that I spent a whole bunch of time going back and forth with two different parties, or trying to reach out and connect with them about getting them set up on this platform and, helping them do it. So I don't want to do that anymore. That's my challenge.
Yeah.
And I do want to do owner finance deals. So I think we just need to solidify that whole thing. But yeah, I guess that's it for me, for my check-in for the week. We do have, we have the closing on Monday, which is our JV, which is great, but this is really painful for me, but I think that's my first closing of the month. That's the other challenge, is we've had like 5 different deals go sideways with heirs issues or this or that, like the one seller who was a fraud. And, we started the month with like 40 or 50K set to close. And it looks like we're going to close 5 or 10 or 15K, maybe if we're lucky this week and we close 2, so, and that's after our biggest, our biggest month of the year last month was like 60K, so I'm like, oh yeah, 60K. Now we're on, we got 40K set up to close next month. We're easily going to do 60 this month. And we're at a month where we're going to do like maybe 10 or 15. And that's painful. It really, really, really hurts. And, as you know, I've got a goal to hit $500,000 this year, and I'm not even close. So that's why I've hired the new person. We're going to ramp up and double or triple down on launch control, see how this direct mail shakes out with a split test, and just have to go nuts with marketing right now. And also, of course, increase our efficiency with conversion of leads to contracts and all that. But that's my biggest challenge, really, is that, I'm glad that I feel the pain and feel the fear right now, because, like I talked about at the top, that's going to be a good motivator for me to get stuff done. But it's not a happy place either. So, that's all I got. I'm open to any feedback if you have it. And if you're not, we can
just like you have it. Just like you can have multiple deals fall out, you can have multiple deals surprise you and close and have a huge month. So, I got faith you'll bounce back for sure. For sure. But I think launch control will definitely help you double down on that. I would recommend turning that up as soon as you can.
Yeah.
That's been going very well for me. On that thing you were touching about, maybe you make that a requirement of the buyer that has to be done before closing. They have to sign up on your platform before closing. And that they can't even purchase the property without setting up an account with you guys.
Yeah.
Just in the future. Man. Title issues, it's out of our control. I've lost the one I complained about today. It's probably looking like it's not going to close, and I've lost 2 other ones this month too. So just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, but it hurts for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I've had 4 to 5 deals either canceled or postponed this month. Because like I said, we entered the month with like 40 or 50K set to close. I think one of them was postponed, or maybe two postponed, but still, just crazy sometimes. Like you just think you're sitting pretty with all these deals in escrow, and then all of a sudden. So the lesson is to just keep putting stuff in escrow and keep cranking. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even know, like, even if you do a preliminary title search, you don't even know. Like, I mean, like I said, like this one we were working on at the beginning of the week, like when I was hearing from Jason, I was like, oh, this deal is done. Like, we're just gonna have to cancel this deal. But then turns out it wasn't at all. He was like clinging to this one person that was supposedly an error or something, but he wasn't. He had basically the order of kin incorrect. Jason did. And I was thankful for Divine because she sorted it out and continued to give Jason more and more proof. Like, no, look, this is actually the way it is. This is what the seller is saying. He has a death certificate, all this stuff. And I'm like,
yeah,
he was kind of fighting us on it. That was kind of frustrating, but at the same time, you know, I understand why he did, because a lot of times these deals end up going south. So,
but it is.
Yeah, I really don't know. I sent you that. Sent you that resource a couple weeks ago. I could resend that to you via email, because I think I just randomly texted it to you. That's not the best way to send something to you. But my friend Kevin, who's also works in North Carolina, he sent me this resource of this company. You might have heard of them before, but I'll find this and resend it to you. But it's a company that does that. Basically, they do all that work for you, researching and finding difficult errors in title work, all that stuff. And they're specifically based in North Carolina, so that's something that I might give a shot. But they do have like a retainer that you have to pay them. So I'm curious if it's. I haven't spoken to them yet, but he recommended them. But I'm curious if it's like refundable if they don't find it, or if it's just you have to pay them either way. So
yeah.
But that's something I was going to suggest to you and myself for a couple of deals that I've lost this month.
Well, on that topic, Giselle has a friend who's a VA, and he has a job. He's been working for a title company for the last couple of years, 2-3 years, and he's concerned that he might get downsized and knocked out. So he actually applied for my acquisitions job, but he doesn't have acquisitions experience. But I was thinking to ask him if he might be willing to just be a subcontractor on a per case-by-case basis, you know, because he's got all those skills. So it might be the kind of thing where we could just send him a thing and just have him bill us hourly for his work on any title. Might be more cost efficient than what you're saying. And he's got those skills. So anyway, I'll look into that and I'll let you know how that pans out. But he's a little bit concerned for his job, or he might have to go freelance if he gets downsized. So it could be a win-win. Like if he can do preliminary title searches for us, bill us hourly, and we can have somebody who does that for us. So I'll check. I wanted to check with him and say thanks for the application, but we found somebody, so I can ask him about that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. That's a good idea.
All right. Well, I think we're at the wrap it up phase, right?
Yeah, I feel like I might have missed one of your challenges, but we can wrap it too. We don't need to spend more time if you don't want to.
Yeah, I had a few challenges. And my ongoing challenge of being consistent with getting up at 5 a.m. every day, which I really know affects my productivity. So my latest strategy this week is going to be to get a timer for a light and have a light come on at 5 because I hate alarms. So try that. I usually wake up, but then if the light's already on, then I'll know that it's already that time.
Yeah.
I was going to pull up like Sahil Bloom or something and see if there's anything on there. I don't know. We don't have to read an inspiration thing either, but I just switched over my email. You want to do appreciations?
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I appreciate my team. Like I said, this week everybody stepped up while Mike was out, so I appreciate everyone for that. I appreciate the newer hire, Divine, for growing into her role and saving me a bunch of time and sorting out that one deal that we got together this week. That was really helpful. So yeah, just appreciate my team as a whole, and I've been really appreciating the weather here lately. It's been nice to be sunny for a long time. We had rain throughout the winter, but I don't know. It's been months since it rained. It's been really nice. Just have sunshine and clear skies every day. It's really nice. So I appreciate that. I appreciate living here, and yeah, I've been appreciating the big leap this week. So it just makes me appreciate authors and people who put their work out there, like can consume and learn from it. So I appreciate the authors, and I really enjoyed that podcast this week. So I recently found his podcast, Steve Bartlett, and he's another one of those guys that sold one of his companies, and he doesn't have to do any of this stuff, but he has a great podcast that I've recently found and enjoy it. So appreciate people like that. Continue to find more and more people like that that are worth over $100 million that are just doing podcasts for free, and I think that's amazing. So really grateful for people like that.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it for me.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I appreciate you for doing this with me and for continuing to work through technical challenges with trying to put together a podcast of our own. We'll figure it out eventually. We'll see if this records today.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that we've been doing this for quite a while now, man. Like, I don't know how long, 2 or 3 years. I mean, you've been in Arizona for a year and a half, and we were doing it for a year before that, probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really appreciate the consistency that we've done this with, and the value that I get from it every week, and the opportunity to connect with you. And oh yeah, I appreciate the Father's Day card that I got this week, the belated Father's Day card, and appreciate my Father's Day shirt from you guys. I love that. It makes me really happy to wear it with pride. And then appreciate being healthy and strong and being able to play pickleball 8 days in a row for 2 or 3 hours at a time without any problem, and mix in some weightlifting and other exercise with that. Makes me happy. Appreciate that I've been expanding my palette of foods lately. With my dietary restrictions, it's been frustrating at times, but I keep branching out and getting more fun stuff in. So I like eating pancakes today, and I found some gluten-free bread that works great that they have at Weaver Street. And I've been eating burgers again, like turkey burgers on gluten-free bun bread. So it makes me happy. Comfort food. Appreciate my lovely partner, Anne, who's a bright light in my life, and really appreciate having found her. And I appreciate this business and the opportunity for growth, even though it's very challenging at times, and I'm feeling the pressure right now. I'm glad to feel the pressure. I like it. That's why we're entrepreneurs, right? Like, it's the same pressure that we feel when we play basketball or pickleball or whatever else. It's good. And I appreciate my team, and I appreciate things like Online Jobs PH, which put us together with great people who do good work in other areas of the world. And like you, I appreciate all the resources that we have for inspiration and gaining knowledge. So many out there. I think that's it for me. Yeah. And I did pull up a James Clear, so I'll read this as a closing question.
All right.
Just a question that's really simple. What is getting too much of my time right now, and what is getting too little? Leave you with that.